How's it going, everyone? It's Juan Romero here from Switchwatch, and I'm back with another review. Today it's a game called Night in the Woods, provided to us by Fiji. Thank you to those guys for providing us with a copy to review, and thank you for continuing to watch and support our channel. If you want some great written content, head on over to www.switchwatch.co.uk. But for now, let's get into the review of Night in the Woods. The story takes place in Possum Springs. Our protagonist May has dropped out from college and has come back to her hometown after being away for a while. As you take control, you will discover lots of things have changed. Your friends all have jobs, relationships are no longer what they were, and you find out about yourself and how you're regarded in this town. While living your normal life, you're also on a supernatural adventure where you'll have to solve the mystery of Possum Springs. The soundtrack was composed by Alec Hololka, and the tracks used in this game are fantastic. Have a listen to yourself on Bandcamp, and I'll post the link in the description below. The audio in this game is very good indeed and pretty integral part of the setting and atmosphere around Possum Springs. I really enjoyed the minigames where you just pick up a bass guitar in your room and play a tune, thus turning the game into a rhythm game, even if it is just for a few minutes. Now, because you're in a band with friends, you'll meet up with them regularly to play songs, which is quite fun. The sound effects here are top notch. Birds will sing while you walk around, and dreams will sound very strange with a band playing in them, and you have to find each band member. It's very interesting as when you find one band member, they will only play that one instrument they have until you find the rest to bring the song together. It's a really nice touch. The NPCs are not voice acted, which is a shame, but there is a nice sound effect to let you know when text appears on screen. This game has a huge amount of dialogue between many different characters, so I can understand that the makers would have needed multiple actors to voice them. It would have cost a lot, but I can't help feeling that it would have been great to have seen these characters brought to life through voice. Now, in terms of visuals, this game really nails it for me. Possum Springs looks beautiful and the characters are diverse. May the cat is the main character, and a posse of May's animal friends, including a bear, crocodile and a fox, are all drawn nicely. The developers have used a really nice colour palette. In autumn, the leaves are depicted with browns, oranges and yellows, and the colours are not overly punchy, but neither are they drab. Everything is beautifully drawn, and I could not wait to wake up each day to discover what new things there were to see and explore. When walking around, cars whiz by, birds fly, and other small animals go waltzing by. The backgrounds also change depending on the seasons, which is beautiful to behold. As Halloween approaches, for example, you'll notice pumpkins outside people's doors. Now, at first this may seem trivial, but it works so well in building the scenes and story around you. It's even better when characters you speak to reinforce what you see through the dialogue. The expressions the characters display when they speak is really impressive as well. The way the eyes move, or when Greg wiggles his arms to show excitement. The characters are very expressive, and this makes everything seem a lot more alive. One thing that did get on my nerves a little bit though, and broke up the game far too much, was the loading times in between each section. Every time you move to a new screen, the game will interrupt you with a load screen. This really disrupts the sense of immersion in a game like this, where you're really getting into the world, its story and inhabitants, and it started to become rather annoying after a while. Now, the game ran pretty much flawlessly other than that, and there's no issues in terms of performance. Then again, there isn't much here that would really push the Switch to its limits. You'll be glad to know that this runs at 1080p in docked mode at 60 frames per second and 720p in handheld mode at again 60 frames per second. This is nice to see as it keeps everything running smoothly. Be aware though that this is a 6GB download for those of you tight on space. There is a good use of HD rumble here, but there were no touchscreen controls for those of you that were interested. So moving on to gameplay, Night in the Woods is a game which took me by complete surprise. It's touted as a 2D side-scrolling exploration game which focuses on story and characters. You take control of May, who can be moved around easily like any respectable 2D platformer. only this isn't really much of a platformer. Sure, you can triple jump with a third jump affording you the ability to reach greater heights, and these jumps will come in useful at some points throughout the game. However, a platformer this is not. Well, not really, although some parts do require jumping around, like in May's Weird Dreams or reaching rooftops to speak to certain characters. I went into this game completely cold and was pleasantly surprised to find that this game was a little adventure, little exploration, a little platforming, lots of mini games thrown in, and a story with lots of humour and witty writing. The writing for me is by far the best thing about this game. It's all about the story here, and it's one to be savoured. It requires your concentration and patience, and if you're not into reading, then this game might not be for you, because there is a lot of it here. You see, this is pretty much like an interactive book, only with more interaction. The chat between characters though is excellent. Now, as you come back home due to dropping out from college, you soon get into a daily routine in this game, much like we do in our own lives. At night, you can chat with dad while watching some trash TV with him or not. The choice is actually yours. When you go up to your room, you can choose to go straight to sleep, play a bit of the bass guitar which initiates the aforementioned mini rhythm game, or chat with some of your friends via the messenger on your laptop. Once you go to sleep, weird dreams will ensue where you can control May to explore these supernatural experiences, and when you wake up there is time to chat with Mum for a bit and then make your way out of the house into Possum Springs town. Now, these talks all feel meaningful and impactful, and nothing feels like it's a waste of time here. Everything is part of May's world. You control May by directing her left or right, and simple actions will usually pop up on screen. For example, talking to someone or looking at a poor picture may initiate an action, which might be to steal a pretzel without getting caught. Looking further at a severed arm, opening windows, pressing buzzers, or picking up items. It's all simple stuff, but it's pretty fun finding out more about each situation. There are lots of mini games to have fun with within many of these situations to break up the vast amount of dialogue. Shoot some arrows at a target, swing a baseball bat against long tube light bulbs, or how about finding some stars looking through a telescope? But to name a few fun things you can take part in. Now here you can potter around town, chat to folks, animals all over the place, learn a little more about your past, find items, chat some more with friends, and then decide what you're going to do with your day. The cool thing about the game is you get choices, and the more you explore, the more choices you'll find out about. Do you check out the mall with Bay, steal some merchandise via a mini game while you're at it? Is Bay the bad influence, or are you? How about a trip to the woods with Greg? To get there, you get to go on an amazing bike ride, beautiful music playing in the background, as good as any movie scene. Once you get to the woods, you can have a little knife fight. Yep, that's right, you can stab each other's hands in a mini game ever so slightly until one of you gives up due to the pain. Now, there are also choices in some of the dialogue, but overall this doesn't really change how the characters relate to you, which is a bit of a shame. The game is linear, but it does a great job making you feel like it's more open. Choices have to be made to propel the story forward, of course, but in the end, the story ends up being the same. How much detail you get from it, though, is really up to you. Now, it sounds crazy, but for every silly thing you encounter, there's more serious issues to deal with, like Greg's problems with his boyfriend and believing that he's going to end up alone. Conversations often have options in which you choose what to do. As an example, there's a character you meet early on who wants to recite a poem to you on a daily basis. You can choose to say yes or no, and I tended to open myself up to all options by saying yes for the fear of missing out on something important. But by doing so, this makes the game last much longer. Again, the choice is yours whether you rush through it or whether you take more time. Now, as the story unfolds, it really does resonate with me. It tackles depression, loss, and just really finding your way through life as a young adult. Mistakes along the way will be made, such as getting drunk and making a fool of yourself. I mean, who hasn't done that at least once or twice in life? You'll forget important things about your friends' lives, which in turn puts a strain on your relationships. You begin to find out that you've made a lot of mistakes both in the past and you continue to do so now in the present. In between the depressing side of things, there's loads of joyous things to find and do. Join up with your pals to practice playing in a band for a great rhythm mini game, find some pet rats and find food to feed them, or gather some fireflies to cheer up a friend. Day by day you live your life. There's a structure, as in you wake up, go about your day and go to bed, and there'll be joyous moments, dreadful ones, embarrassing moments, and moments of sheer wonderment. Somewhere in there though, you'll see that there's love which holds and binds everything together. The reason it will resonate with many of you is purely that it's so much like real life. Even though the characters are of course fictional, the story can be at times hard-hitting. In between all of that, there is a mystery or two to solve, which really keeps you motivated and playing. Now, May records many of the moments by drawing them out in her journal for you to look back through. It's a fantastic way of recalling memories or even clues for some of the mysteries around Possum Springs, or reminding you of something important which you may have forgotten. It's helpful when you need to remember something important or when you come across it later in the game. This is a game which perfects its genre in telling a story by being filled with beautiful moments. This is not a game which will be for everyone, as it does require a little too much reading, and in reality there's not a huge amount of gameplay. I personally enjoyed the change of pace, but some may not. Exploring is fun, but finding some of the hidden places will require you using your jumping skills and that triple jump to reach higher platforms. It's all pretty fun, but it did feel a little bit like an afterthought. Now, there is a mini game called Demon Tower here with 9 levels to get through, which is a top-down roguelike, which is really interesting. You can easily lose a few hours in this game alone. Night in the Woods is a game which you can complete in roughly 8 to 12 hours, dependent on how many things you choose to do and how much time you spend on Demon Tower. There's multiple endings, which gave the game some level of replayability, but the length never outstays its welcome. So $19.99 in the US or £17.09 in the UK, A Night in the Woods certainly has competition in terms of games to choose from, but I'm certain that this stands tall in terms of the quality this delivers within its genre. I think many will find it difficult to tear themselves away from Possum Springs even when it ends. This version comes with the extra content called Weird Autumn, and these include the dream sequences when May is asleep, the longest night, and lost constellations. The scenes included from the game's pre-released mini-episodes. These were previously only available as downloadable content on PC. I think many need a couple of walkthroughs to get the best out of this one. As long as you put in the time, then you'll no doubt complete the game. So on to my conclusion. A Night in the Woods is a game which requires patience. It's best savoured like a good wine or meal. There's lots to explore, many strands of story to uncover, and Possum Springs is a place with characters which just draws you in. Once hooked, it doesn't let go until the credits roll. May is an imperfect cat with many vulnerabilities, and that's why this story resonates so deep, because when you play this, there is no doubt that many will have experienced some of the things in this very game. Even though it's a supernatural adventure, there's just characters living normal lives with everyday problems, which the writers have brought to the fore with an excellent written script. I can't promise that this will be for everyone, but I can confidently say that those that are willing to give this one the time it deserves will be richly rewarded. A solid 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed this review, which is slightly longer than normal, guys, due to the game itself, then please leave us a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and leave us a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this one or any other Nintendo Switch game. My name is Juan Romero from Switchwatch, and you know what I'm going to say. I'll see you on the next Juan.